So welcome to Transform Gov, the Digital Government Podcast, and I'm your host, Maeve Neefsey. Transform Gov is part of the Ireland eGovernment Awards and is proudly brought to you in association with Accenture. Together we explore how digital innovation is transforming the public sector and shaping the future of government services. Well, today we're excited to have with us Kathrin Chambers, Digital Marketing Manager with Fáilte Ireland, who's been instrumental in creating dynamic marketing initiatives that impact both on tourism and also sustainability in Ireland. I'm sure you're intrigued now to find out how tourism and sustainability are in the same bed, but anyway, we'll get into that. Kathrin and her team recently won the Ireland eGovernment Award for Marketing and Inclusion with their Keep Discovering Car Free initiative. This project is a prime example of government and tourism aligning together to deliver sustainability goals and to create real change. We'll find out about Kathrin's 33-year career and how it's shaped her perspective on digital transformation and innovation in the tourism sector, how her team covered nearly 3,000 kilometres across Ireland to inspire car-free travel, and the broader impact this has had on our future as a more sustainable society. So that's a big opening, isn't it? There's no limits there, Kathrin. So I'll get started with asking you to tell me a little bit about what you've learned, I suppose, in terms of the shifts you've seen in how tourism is promoted, kind of with the advent of online and online platforms. What are the main changes you've seen?
So I suppose just with 33 years, when I started, it was totally pre-internet. So we would have had an awful lot of print and TV advertising. During that time as well, cinema advertising was a first. So you can imagine how the shift has changed. And now it's very much on-time marketing, so using our social channels, using our website. So you're on 24 hours, whereas before you would have had, the information office open 9 to 5, whereas now actually with the websites, we're 24 hours, 24/7. So it's a big, big shift, big change. And you always wonder on a Friday evening, who's going to look at what and maybe find something wrong. But actually, we do have enough belts and braces that we ensure that our information is accurate at all times.
And of course, you can learn from what's happening really almost in real time, can't you, in terms of what people respond to and what works? Whereas before, you spent the money on your creative, you spent probably a fortune on your creative, and then it was gone and that was it, done and dusted.
Absolutely. So, even with our digital transformation, we're now we have what we call our performance mindset. So we're looking at what people are doing on our channels, on our platforms, which is discoverireland.ie and also visitdublin.com, but also all our different social channels. So we can see what people are engaging with straight away. We can create content really, really quickly to actually capture a trend. And that's what we call our responsive type of actions. So, we could see a trend of Dublin is trending. Today, indeed, there's one which is Winter in Dublin has been launched. So we've put out a post this morning encouraging all the industry to get behind it so that we actually get a really big bang for the start of Winter in Dublin. And we'll see how many people are interacting with that on a sort of minute-by-minute basis.
Yeah. So it's data-driven decision-making like at the forefront there, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And that's a massive advantage in a way. So you started your journey really promoting Ireland abroad, didn't you? Because you were the representative to promote us in Italy and Greece and Malta. But now it's a very competitive marketplace and with rising costs in Ireland, do you think we are able to compete and really still attract domestic and international tourists?
Well, I think, from a Fáilte Ireland point of view, we're focused on the domestic visitors. So sort of attracting overseas visitors is our cousins in Tourism Ireland. But indeed, there was some research came out literally over the weekend and people are still really, really interested in Ireland. So, and especially sort of the landscapes and the people. So again, we're winning doubly on that. But from a Fáilte Ireland perspective, we're focused on domestic visitors and getting domestic visitors to take that short break in Ireland. We do know that domestic visitors also take the longer break, but it's that short break. And people in general take 2 to 3 short breaks in Ireland every year.
And that's not going down?
No, it's actually quite stable. Ever since I became a marketing manager, we've always seen that sort of shift of 2 to 3 breaks in Ireland is what people in general would do. There's the family ones over sort of Halloween or whatever, but a lot of couples and older couples as well, you know, you have your weekend break. A lot of the work that we're doing, which we'll talk into, is sort of car-free, carefree. Also, we have another initiative out at the moment, which is Discover Your Trail. And it's very much focused at under 45s to go and take a walking break in Ireland in this shoulder season. So that's actually out live on air right now.
Okay.
Coming to an eGov maybe next year.
Exactly. So look, we go back to the award then, because that's a natural place to go. But in terms of Keep Discovering Car-Free initiative, it was a really good idea because the government is keen for us to be sustainable and you can match that with getting people to travel without having a car. But what was your kind of approach to that? Because I know you tend to focus in on visitor first, or let's say customer first. How did that impact on what you did with that campaign?
So we do say visitor first. We are in tourism, so everything is about our visitor. And what we were seeing, there's a couple of different elements within it. What we were seeing is people, especially younger cohorts under 45s, actually don't have cars. Sustainability is important to them, but it's not the primary decision factor. And also then we were hearing post, COVID, car hire has gone down, sort of the stock. So again, we were sort of saying, we've actually a double-edged sword. We've helped international visitors by giving this, but also ourselves encouraging those younger cohorts to actually take a break in Ireland. But we didn't want to just sort of go, oh, here's an itinerary, and this is what you do. We actually made sure that you could do it. And in fact, one of the itineraries we did...
so you were walking the walk, were you?
We were absolutely walking the walk. So, we had all these new local link buses. We had our average, the trains, the city buses, whatever, but very much capturing how you can get around the country without a car. There are some bicycles in our itineraries as well, so it's not just all on public transport. But we were really trying to show people, you can get places. So we kicked off with Cork, which, we were sort of going, Cork was easy enough. And we were getting comments straight away from the public saying, Cork's easy, try Donegal. But they didn't realise we already had it in the can. Mm-hmm. So the next week we were able to actually name check the person and say, now we're in Donegal, go try it yourself. So we got a lot of sort of community traction that way as well.
And was it a struggle? What kind of insights did you get from doing the campaign? Did you find that there were places that just were inaccessible, or were there other positive surprises?
I would say, on the whole, positive surprises. It's actually amazing. We all tend to jump in our car because it's easy, but actually you can get nearly anywhere in the country with public transport. And that's not having to thumb a lift. Obviously, it's like with public transport. And Local Link actually does an awful lot for this. So we have worked very closely with Transport for Ireland as well. So we know where the local links are. And even, they have a latest piece now where you can actually ask where to be left off. Like in the good old days, I remember St. Kevin bus that used to go up to Glendalough, it still does. But you used to be able to ask which corner you wanted to be left off at, and Local Link does that. But what we tried to do is show people that it's not just the transport, it's what to do when you're there. So we developed these 2 and 3 day itineraries, giving you a really good idea of where to eat and drink, what to do, what to see in the area. So we now have 14 car-free, carefree destinations, and each destination has 3 different itineraries. So we collected the video on that, but we also then ensured that we have the editorial written. So how we did this is the authors went out first and they actually did the trip. They walked the walk. After that, then they fed back to us. If we needed any tweaks, we tweaked based on their experience. And then we sent out the younger videographers to actually capture the footage of the trip that they took. So it was sort of a twofold piece, but it's been exceptionally successful.
And talk to us before we get into the success of it. What was the I suppose the collaborations you had to put in place? So I presume if Transport for Ireland hadn't got all of that information at its fingertips, it would have been harder. So were you collaborating with other parts of government to make it happen, or how did that work?
We were very much looking at what was publicly available to a visitor. So it's not a secret way in. This is what, we were looking at. What if you were going to take a break? How would you go about it? So it was very much at the fingertips of people. We weren't going into the back end and getting different information. It was very much what you can do if you're searching yourself. And what we did then is we pulled the information into one space. So it makes it easier for you to sort of organise it yourself. But there's no back end, getting in the back to sort of see what people were doing. It's very much what's in front of you.
Very good.
So it's real.
And what were the results? What did it work? I mean, I know that you can have an idea, right? And then it actually does it work?
We've had organically over 1.7 million views. Now, I took that figure a month ago, so I know that that's higher already.
What does that mean, though? Because I would have no idea how that compares to something else in context.
In context, Woof, it's absolutely massive. We thought we would get about 300,000 views. Okay. So when you compare that to what we actually get, and it's organic, so it's not paid views, it's organic, which means that people are finding it useful. They're finding it where they're looking for it. So we're very purposefully putting it out onto YouTube and on TikTok because they're areas that people are searching for this type of information. So we've gone to the platforms that are most useful to the visitors. So yes.
So it's a young cohort then, is it in particular?
Very much the younger cohort. Yeah. But YouTube is also the second biggest search engine now. So anybody who's looking for itineraries for Cork, whatever, they will find those as well. So TikTok would be the sway. Specifically in 2024, we started the initiative in 2023 and we pushed it back out again in 2024. And TikTok is really where it absolutely exploded this year.
And I presume that when you were talking earlier on about the layers of content, the final piece is the video recording, if you like, of the trip or the journey. Are they people that work for you? Are they influencers? Who is it that's generating that for you?
So we actually call them content creators.
Okay.
So what we do from our social perspective is we're obviously always social listening, seeing what's going on. And these are younger creators who are actually going out on their own, making their own videos. And sort of we've been watching some of them and we're sort of going, they'll actually fit the profile. They're not. Some of them have become influencers as a result of Carefree, Carefree, and I won't name check them. But again, we're looking at people who are actually doing good social content themselves. Now, obviously, they're paid then to do the trip for us, but they're people who already have a bit of a following or who you can just see what they're creating is really, really good content.
And in terms of hurdles, like every project has hurdles. There's nothing ever goes absolutely perfect from A to B. That's just the fact, right? Were there things that you encountered that were challenges and how did you overcome those?
Oh, it's quite a few hurdles. One, we were walking down an exceptionally busy road, which really we shouldn't have been. So we took that out. It's we operate this test and learn. So we went live with Cork. We captured that first, and we looked back, and we hadn't. We'd sent the script, the author out, and then the videographer went out, sort of more or less at the same time, and you're then getting different sort of end product back. So what we did start doing then is sort of going, change the flow, send the author first, get them to come back with the goods, and then we'd send the creator out. We also are still testing. Our last piece is actually the Burren, and it's a long form video. So, all our videos had been 1 minute to 30 seconds, where now we're testing a long form 7-minute video, which gives you more information about what you can do, just to see how does that land with the people who are actually consuming it. So it is iteration each time. Nothing is ever perfect when you put it out first.
And somewhere like the Burren, I would think would be quite tricky. Now you can contradict me, I'm happy for you too, because I was there in the summer for a week. And I thought, I don't know how you do this with public transport, because you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere sometimes. But obviously you found a way around it.
Absolutely can. You absolutely can. Yeah. And there's actually a local shuttle bus that'll bring you out into the Burren, and it leaves you there, but it does come back and pick you up again. Mm-hmm. And just nearby where it picks up, there's a lovely little cafe that you can just sort of sit and have a cup of tea and wait for the bus to come. So absolutely you can do it with public transport.
And in a way, I think from your strategy wasn't just to make people aware of it. It was actually to say this is a better way to travel. Exactly. So how did you communicate that, and how did that come about?
So when we were looking at it, and I suppose we were looking at car free first as you can get around. And then when we were looking at it, we were going like, this is 100% sustainably. And we'd done research on visitor attitudes, and sustainability wasn't the core motive for a holiday. So it sneaks in underneath as sort of a secondary piece. So what we were doing then is leveraging that sustainability message that, you know, you can get here without having to drive here. You can cycle, walk, get public transport. But then what we also did is we were ensuring that if we were promoting businesses within that they did have some form of sustainability practice, so that we were able to say, actually, the businesses we're also promoting are already on that sustainability journey. Now, that journey is quite a long journey, even from Fáilte Ireland's point of view. You know, we do have a climate action team who were set up last year. So they're working on how do we ensure businesses are sustainable, etc. That's coming, but we dipped our toes into the water because it is something that is
you have to
very
start
much
somewhere.
And it's on the top of people's heads as well. Certainly the younger cohorts.
And I suppose that there is an element when you travel by public transport, you've handed a responsibility over in a way. So if you're on a train, for example, well, what else can you do? Well, just relax and look out the window. So do you think was that kind of part of the messaging?
It was, yes, it was. And like car-free, carefree was our first total immersion into car-free. The year before we had done Ireland's Hidden Heartlands, A Different Pace. And again, the guys had travelled by train. So again, you're sort of seeing that piece of your holiday starts as you get on that bus. You're not in traffic. You're not sort of stressing, looking at a Google map going, how am I going to get there? What's the time? So again, it is that whole piece of your short break starts as soon as you get onto that piece of transport.
But your role really within Fáilte Ireland has been much more than digital marketing manager, although that's your title at the moment. You're very much part of the digital transformation really for Fáilte Ireland on a much broader level. So what was the objective really in looking at it as a bigger thing, digital transformation for the organisation? Why and how did that come about?
Yeah, I suppose our win for this eGovernment was very much the outputs of what we got, and you know, we also won the universal design for the website. But yes, so in 2018 we came together. We had a myriad of different websites. The user journey was totally fragmented, different platforms. There was no clear process procedures. And also from a resourcing point of view, it was really resource heavy, not just financially, but also from a team resource point of view.
Because these things evolve, don't they? I mean, you know, you start off at one site and then you say, we need another site. And then suddenly you've just got a kind of a mishmash, really.
Exactly.
And I presume you had different content management systems, probably different databases where information was held, the amount of work people had to do. Is that the kind of driver?
So the only piece that what unified all our websites was actually what we called then the tourism content system, and that was the tourism information database. That was the only piece that held everything together. But the platforms were all different, everything was different. We created our latest version of Discover Ireland in 2012, which we won an eGovernment award for.
You did, indeed.
And then we went on as the brands started being generated. So Wild Atlantic Way was obviously now a household name. We created the new website for that, which had its own look and feel. We had Ireland's Ancient East, which again had its own look and feel. So we had all these different brands. We were brand focused and we weren't visitor focused. Mm-hmm. So in 2018 we were sort of going like, we're missing a trick. We need to get visitor focused. We need to ensure that the best product is showcased to the visitor to ensure that they will actually take their break in Ireland. So we set up the project and it was sort of part of my role. But we soon realised it's huge transformation. So we did adapt an agile project management in it. So we did the proper due diligence of discovery, then definition, and then delivery. So as part of that, we were able to sort of work out who we were delivering for, what we wanted to deliver, and why we wanted to deliver. So,
and I think you told me when we were getting ready for the interview that you know Post-its were your starting point, which it is for so many people.
Absolutely.
But just tell us a bit about that kind of session, because I think that really is useful to people who are trying to start off on this journey. Maybe they've got experiencing what you're experiencing with a myriad of different solutions and they're trying to consolidate it.
Absolutely. And I think for us, one of the big pivotal moments was we had done research. We knew the questions we needed answering. We knew who we needed to answer the questions. So what we did is we brought our senior management into a meeting room in head office. We had our questions up on the wall in one colour of Post-it. And then we worked our way through to ensure that we had all the information we needed. And sometimes we had to loop back around, but getting clarity on who's our target audience, what do we want to do for them, why do we want to do it? And I think the key thing that we did in that room was, what does done, finished look like? Because often we set off on these projects, but actually we don't know when we've actually finished the journey and got to the end. So from that session, actually my director at the time asked us to leave the Post-its up on this wall for about a week for the rest of the executive team to actually see, which allowed everybody to see it's not just building a new website. It's fundamentally changing how we actually interact with, as we call them, the visitor, but other businesses, it's the consumer or the user. But we were very clear on the language that we were using. We're tourism, so it's a visitor. And when we talk about the websites, even we always, you'll have seen on some of the stuff, we welcome a number of visitors to our website as our industry partners welcome people into their businesses. So very much the use of the language and how we actually deliver the information. As a result of that, our vision was that we, as Fáilte Ireland, are in that unique position that we can offer the visitor the best quality information at the time that they're looking for it to encourage them to take their short break in Ireland.
Okay.
And that was our vision statement.
I presume you helped for your executive to kind of connect the different journeys as well and see how everything's interconnected. So it's a bigger project than just a website, isn't it? It's
absolutely.
Yeah.
We re-engineered our back-end database, which is not very exciting and obviously took a good amount of time. And people,
it's like the foundations though, isn't it? Yeah.
If you don't get that piece right, the rest, it's like if you take Argos as an old example, they had their warehouse, they had the details, but all you saw was the people in the shop front. So, if you don't have that right, then we're on a loser. And we did a lot of work on that database. We knew from asking visitors what they were looking for that there were certain tags they would like. So we have over 15 different types of tag, be it family friendly, seasonality, basically whatever you're looking for. You can slice and dice it, pet friendly. You can slice and dice it to your own personal needs.
So I have to say that I have some connection with Fáilte Ireland, because years and years ago I worked with Mac Publishing and we did the old-fashioned brochures, the Discover Ireland, which were an enormous amount of work. But I presume the back-end processing of all that information has changed dramatically in terms of keeping information up to date. Has the transformation enabled that?
It absolutely has. And I do remember those market books because I was in charge of printing them at one stage of my life. But so basically the back end of the websites now, the industry partners can go in and update their listings themselves. There is an email that also, if you have a new one, it's direct. If you want to make a tweak to your listing, then it goes through to our visitor engagement team who took on the management of the business listings during COVID.
So just tell a little bit about how that happened, because that's fascinating how that happened.
Yeah, so, March the 13th, we all went home. We have a number, obviously, of tourist information offices around the country, and our colleagues were suddenly at home then, and their roles were closed for the foreseeable with COVID. So we literally were at that point of the project when we were starting to tag the businesses in the database. And
when you say tag, just in case people don't know what you mean, what do you mean by tag?
So tag, so if it's Maeve's B&B or Equestrian Centre, then they would have gone in and said, oh, Maeve's Equestrian Centre, it's family friendly, it's equestrian, it's seasonal, so it's open all year round or just in summer, whatever. So all these sort of information points that you could get. So I proposed that the team could possibly help us do this. We didn't have enough budget actually to do them all for the original go live. So the team were able to tag all the listings. They put in over 15,000 tags.
So there was a silver lining in a way for following COVID and people being stuck at home.
Yes, a silver lining for COVID, but certainly then there became a business listings management team. So they were then trained in our database, which is called Orca, which is our repository of content and assets.
Okay.
And so they were trained how to tag the business listings, how to update them. And they've been doing that ever since. So we also now have brought in, over the past 3 years, a piece which we do systematic outreach. So the teams on the ground will contact their local businesses to ensure that their listings are up to date, that their imagery is up to date. So we know that in every sort of 12 months, every single business has been contacted in some form or other. So we know that our data is as up to date as it possibly can.
And what other technologies did you bring in as part of the transformation that you think really have changed dramatically the business?
I suppose we're now operating on a headless CMS, which we wouldn't have heard of years ago. And the beauty of the headless CMS is we have one database, but it's all connected in. So business listings and editorial are all on the one database, interconnected. It's all, again, meta tagged, etc. So even from that point of view, you're doing it once. You're not having to do it multiple times. And then our business listings then as well are on the government open data, so they can be used by any businesses that really want to use them.
So they can access that information, anybody could.
Exactly, through fáilteireland.ie they can get a download of all our tourism business listings and also all our festivals and events.
And look, in terms of trends, if I was to say to you, what do you see going to happen in about 5 years? What do you think we're going to see? Don't worry, we won't hold you to it. We just want to see what your imagination might come up with.
My imagination is probably Google search is going to go down. We're already seeing that it's going down. YouTube is going to be very much up there from a search point of view. People like videos, they interact with videos. It's really easy. It's easier to watch a video than read a piece of content. TikTok, unless anything else happens.
Which you could easily, but we all know that,
exactly,
right?
But, you know, it's third at the moment from a search point of view. So TikTok.
So first is
Google,
YouTube, TikTok.
And TikTok. And, well, actually, Amazon is in there, but from our perspective as tourism, it's not of interest to us. But if I was a white goods merchant, I'd be very interested in Amazon as well, because, again, people are searching on Amazon, cutting that path to purchase.
Yes.
So, again, it's looking at how people are consuming, and that path to purchase is going to get shorter and shorter as people can get to the information more quickly.
And control it themselves.
Exactly.
And if you had to pick a dream destination in Ireland, a car-free weekend, where would you go?
Oh, you see, now I'll get in trouble if I choose one over another. But do you know what? Anywhere in Ireland is amazing for a weekend. I have literally been to everywhere in Ireland during my time in 33 years. And every place is slightly different. But no matter where you go, there's always an amazing welcome, and food is always fabulous.
Top of the list. I would agree with you completely. I know that was a cop-out, but I'm letting you get away with it. But look, most importantly, right, is that you've won not just one, but 2 awards for Fáilte Ireland. And this is multiple awards you've won. But this year was particularly for universal design, which means anyone can access the site. It's incredibly easy to navigate, no matter who you are, really. And also, obviously, the marketing side of things, which is your forte. But I think we could talk forever. There's loads more we could talk about. But I just, firstly and lastly, a big, huge thank you, because I know you're a very busy woman, to come in and talk to us about the award. And if anybody feels inspired to go travelling car free, they should go to discoverireland.ie. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Very good. So other than thanking you, I want to thank the studio. So producer Conal Moran, studio manager Peter Rice, video editor Neil Horner, sound engineer and videographer Lee Brennan, and of course Dublin South Podcast Studio. So thank you so much again, Kath, for coming in to see us.
Thank you for having me.